So, when did you first know you were
a mutant?
Welcome to the Pride Channel, your home for all things queer news, history, and pop culture. There's a reason so many queer people emotionally attach themselves to X-Men, and it's honestly hard to overstate just how deep that connection runs. For a lot of LGBTQ fans, the X-Men weren't just another superhero team. They were the first fictional characters who felt like they understood what it meant to grow up afraid of yourself. Because underneath all the action and sci-fi chaos, the X-Men are fundamentally stories about people the world views as wrong. Mutants are born different. They don't choose it. Most of them spend their early lives trying to fit in and pretend they're normal, until eventually something inside them emerges whether they're ready or not. Usually, during puberty. Suddenly their lives change forever. Their bodies change. Their emotions become unstable. Their families start looking at them differently. Society becomes hostile. Some people want them hidden away. Some want them cured. Some want them dead.
Could it be?
What are you doing?
That metaphor lands incredibly hard for queer audiences because it mirrors so many real emotional experiences connected to growing up LGBTQ. A lot of queer people know what it feels like to spend years monitoring themselves, changing their voice depending on who's around, hiding crushes, avoiding certain mannerisms, feeling like they're performing normalcy just to survive socially. And that feeling exists all over the X-Men universe. Mutants are constantly trying to pass.
We thought Bobby was going to a school for the gifted.
Bobby is the gifted.
We know that. We just didn't realize he
We
was...
still love you, Bobby. It's just this mutant problem is a little...
What mutant problem?
They're constantly calculating whether it's safe to reveal who they are. They think about whether friends will still accept them, whether family members will still love them, whether strangers will react with fear, whether being visible is worth the danger that comes with it. That's why the X-Men don't just feel metaphorically queer. They feel emotionally queer.
What the hell is this?
I want to give you something.
There's nothing you can give me that I want.
Yes, there is.
The famous scene in X2 with Bobby Drake is probably the clearest example. Bobby comes out to his parents as a mutant, and the scene is framed almost exactly like a queer coming out conversation. His mother looks confused and afraid. His family becomes tense and uncomfortable. Then she asks him, "Have you tried not being a mutant?" And the reason that scene became so iconic isn't because it was subtle. It's because it wasn't subtle at all.
There should be some soda in that small cupboard.
Thanks.
No problem.
Queer audiences immediately recognize that conversation because versions of it happen in real life all the time. Maybe this is just a phase. Maybe you haven't met the right person. Can't you just keep it private? The language changes, but the emotional experience stays the same. And then you start looking at individual characters and realizing why queer fans connect to them so intensely. Rogue is a huge one. Her mutation makes physical intimacy dangerous. She craves closeness and connection, but grows up believing that touch itself could harm people. There's so much fear and shame wrapped into the way she experiences affection. For queer audiences, especially older generations who grew up during the AIDS crisis or periods of intense stigma around queer intimacy, Rogue's story can feel painfully familiar. Then there's Nightcrawler, who physically looks different from everyone around him. People see him and instantly assume he's evil or unnatural before they even know him. What makes the character especially moving is that he remains compassionate despite the hatred directed at him. He keeps his faith, he keeps his kindness, he keeps believing in people even when they reject him. That resonates deeply with queer audiences who grew up being told they were immoral or unnatural simply for existing.
I told you to stay away.
That's never gonna happen.
Please, stop.
Not until I know you're gonna be okay.
And honestly, Mystique may be one of the queerest characters Marvel ever accidentally created. She's literally a shapeshifter, someone whose survival often depends on changing herself to fit the expectations of the environment around her. There's an obvious connection there to queer people who spent years code switching or hiding parts of themselves depending on whether a space felt safe.
I said the real Raven.
The older you get, the more you realize the X-Men universe is filled with these emotional parallels.
Son, is everything all right? What's going on in there?
Nothing, I'll be right out.
Even the political arguments surrounding mutants sound familiar. Humans in these stories constantly frame mutants as threats to society. Politicians debate whether mutants should have rights. News broadcasts fearmonger about them, corrupting the next generation. Religious extremists call them abominations. Governments build surveillance systems around them. It's difficult for queer audiences not to recognize echoes of real-world rhetoric there.
What?
Not all of us can fully control our powers.
Then don't. You need to embrace them.
That's part of why Magneto became such a fascinating character to so many marginalized readers too. Magneto isn't just a villain throwing metal around. He's someone shaped by persecution and trauma who no longer trusts society to peacefully coexist with people like him. Meanwhile, Professor X believes acceptance is possible through patience, diplomacy, and proving mutants can peacefully integrate into society. That conflict mirrors real debates within queer history.
There's something different about you, Mr. Lorio.
Yeah, I was having a good day.
No. It's not that.
Do you try to assimilate into existing systems and gain acceptance by appearing respectable? Or do you reject systems that were never designed for you in the first place? Do you tone yourself down to make society comfortable? Or do you unapologetically exist exactly as you are? The X-Men franchise keeps returning to those questions over and over again. Another reason queer audiences connect so strongly to the X-Men is because the franchise understands the importance of chosen family. For many LGBTQ people, chosen family becomes essential. Sometimes biological families are supportive, sometimes they aren't, and sometimes queer people need to build entirely new support systems from scratch. Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters operates exactly like that. It's a home for people rejected everywhere else, a place where outsiders can finally stop pretending and be understood by people like them. That emotional setup means a lot.
What happened?
You can feel it in the quieter moments of the franchise. The students eating together, training together, arguing like siblings, protecting each other, finding community after isolation. For many queer fans, the X-Men weren't aspirational because of the powers. They were aspirational because of the belonging. And honestly, the sheer theatricality of the X-Men also plays a role in why queer audiences adore them.
I'm sorry.
The franchise is unbelievably dramatic. Everyone is emotionally intense all the time. People are delivering tragic monologues in thunderstorms. Half the characters are dressed like futuristic supermodels. Entire storylines revolve around resurrection, forbidden love, betrayal, transformation, identity reinvention, and emotional repression. It's camp. Not intentionally at first, maybe, but definitely camp. And queer audiences have always had a special relationship with camp aesthetics because camp embraces exaggeration, performance, emotionality, and self-creation. The X-Men universe naturally overlaps with that energy. The comics are messy, emotional, stylish, political, romantic, tragic, and completely sincere about all of it. That sincerity matters. Because at the heart of the X-Men is an idea that hits very hard when you're queer. The thing society fears about you may also be the thing that makes you powerful. That's why these stories endure. And over time, Marvel slowly stopped dancing around the queer connection and started embracing it directly. Iceman eventually came out as gay after decades of queer coding. Mystique and Destiny were finally allowed to openly exist as one of Marvel's most important queer couples. Modern X-Men comics became increasingly queer, not just in subtext, but openly and intentionally.
Stay here.
But even before any of that became explicit, queer audiences already understood what the X-Men were saying. The world may fear you. People may try to change you. Some will call you unnatural. Some will want you hidden. Some will never understand you. But there are others like you. And you are not alone. For a lot of queer fans, especially young ones, that message wasn't just entertaining. It was survival.
I called it.
And I'm way more mysterious than you.
Thanks for watching the Pride Channel, where queer voices, history, and pop culture take center stage. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload.